I'm gonna put you a little bit on the spot.
Yeah.
And this is also in teaching people at home how to ask someone for a favor, right? So the key, in my opinion, asking for a favor is give that person the space to say no. Don't ever say, hey, can you do this for me? Say, would you be comfortable? Are you okay with this? Something that you're in a position to do? Because I've had people make demands, get me on Rogan. It's like, that's a big ask, like worded a better way. So when I was growing up, there was someone I was modeling myself after. And that question people ask if you have dinner with anybody on earth, it would be, there is this person, and this person is a big fan of yours. And I would love it if you feel comfortable telling them, hey, break bread with Michael Malice, it'll be worth your time. And that person is Camille Paglia.
Oh.
She was my role model when I started out trying to do this kind of stuff.
Well, I like your conceptualization. It goes along with your stance as an anarchist, right? It's, well, look, this is one of the principles that we're using to guide the development of this Alliance for Responsible Citizenship. Here's the rule. Policies that require fear and force are bad policies.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Right. Now, it's tricky when it comes to the regulation of criminal behavior, right? Because the really psychopathic, antisocial people, they don't play a social game. And so asking them
can't think ahead, even those who just can't think past the next moment.
Well, they don't.
Right, yeah.
Right? I
but
mean,
not just
psychopaths are notorious for not learning from
But
experience.
non-psychopaths as well, a certain intelligence level, they're not thinking in terms of causality.
Yeah. Well, I suspect that see, this is a tough one. I was going to ask you when you were talking about, your decision to become a writer. I mean, you're blessed with an extremely high level of verbal intelligence, right? And that's an a priori gift, right?
Yes, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
But there's quite a correlation between intelligence and socioeconomic status. It's pretty high. It's the best predictor, right? And the second best predictor is conscientiousness.
Is that right?
But yeah,
okay.
It's much weaker. It's about 1/5 as powerful.
Okay.
Or on the entrepreneurial space, it's openness, right? But there doesn't
really. That's because so many entrepreneurs I know are so kind of basic in their thinking.
Well, the managerial types tend to be intelligent and conscientious. The entrepreneurial types tend to be intelligent and open.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So there's a pathway to, it's likely that a serial entrepreneur is going to be high in openness.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So, okay. Because they're right. Yeah.
Yeah. They're switching games. Like an open person is switching games all the time. Right. Whereas a more managerial person picks a game.
Yeah.
And gets really good at it. And that works great if the game is working.
Yeah.
But it works terribly when the game stops working, right? Which is why you need some entrepreneurs in your organization. So I was wondering about this adventure issue. Intelligence predicts success. And so then you might say, well, what's your probability for success as an adventurer if you're not as intelligent? But my suspicions are that strength of character will do the trick. Because one of the pathways to success in a functional society is that people can really rely on you.
That's so, I'm sorry, this is kind of insane that's insane, but it's fortuitous to say this because I've given talks for young people about what I wish I'd known at their age. And I tell them, don't strive for excellence because you're not gonna be able to do it.
Yeah.
Strive for competence.
Yeah.
I can rely on you as someone who's working for me, and you say, I'll have this paper on Tuesday, and it's ready on Tuesday, you're at the 90th percentile.
Right away.
In fact, I'd rather have you say, I'll have it for you on Wednesday and give it Wednesday than say Monday and give it to me on Tuesday. Because I know I could schedule around the Wednesday.
100%. Well, the other thing too, see, if you're reliable, this is why honesty is the best policy. If you're reliable, and you already pointed this out, you're low entropy.
Right, you're right, yeah, right.
Right, it's like, I can reduce you to 1 pixel. You will do what you said. Box, shelf.
I also appreciate the irony of the anarchists advising people to minimize the chaos that they bring, but that's the best approach.
Well, but when we talked about anarchy before, you stressed the voluntary element of it, right? And that strikes me as, well, that's why we made that a principle for our policy discussion, so to speak, at ARC. It's like, if you can't offer people an invitational vision, so they say, yeah, I would do that. I would be enthusiastic about doing that. Then there's something wrong with your policy.
Right.
And so I think a cardinal way of identifying tyrants is they use fear and compulsion.
Yes.
Right.
Definitionally.
Yeah. And so this is a good also for you people to know who are watching and listening is if you're listening to a politician and they're trying to motivate you fundamentally with fear, or they're proposing the use of compulsion, say in the case of an emergency. It's like, yeah, probably you're a tyrant.
Yeah.
Probably you're a tyrant. Even in an emergency, right? It's like,
yeah.
No, your duty is to...
Or the invocation of emergency.
Well, that's exactly the problem, is that, the emergency is pretty convenient for you if you happen to be a tyrant. And part of the reason the idea of the apocalypse is archetypal is because there's always an emergency.
Of course.
Right? It's like you're going to die. Everything's going to come to an end. So you can conjure up an emergency at a moment's notice. So I don't know whether I should look at the blue eye or the red eye.